We have created an astonishing material. Plastic. It is wonderfully versatile, durable, and cheap to produce. We have molded it into almost every aspect of our modern lives, from the packaging that keeps our food fresh to the medical devices that save lives. But this very durability, its greatest strength, has now become its most terrifying curse. Every single piece of plastic ever made, unless it has been incinerated, still exists somewhere on this planet. It is a legacy that will far outlive us all. A synthetic phantom that haunts our lands, our rivers, and our oceans, breaking down not into harmless soil, but into ever smaller, more insidious fragments. The impact of this synthetic flood is now impossible to ignore. It is a slow, creeping crisis that has infiltrated every corner of the natural world. Seabirds, their stomachs filled with colorful bottle caps and lighters, starve to death. Majestic whales and dolphins become entangled in discarded fishing nets, condemned to a slow and agonizing demise. On land, plastic bags clog waterways, causing floods in urban centers, while livestock mistake plastic for food, leading to internal injuries and death. This is not a distant problem, it is a direct consequence of our throwaway culture, a daily accumulation of convenience that is exacting a devastating toll on the creatures with whom we share this earth. Even more alarming is what we cannot see. As these plastics are weathered by sun and sea, they fragment into microplastics. These tiny particles, often smaller than a grain of sand, are now found everywhere. They have been discovered in the deepest ocean trenches and on the highest mountain peaks. They are in the air we breathe, the water we drink, and the salt we use to season our food. These fragments act like tiny sponges, absorbing other harmful chemical pollutants from the environment. When ingested by plankton, the very foundation of the marine food web, these toxins begin their inexorable journey up the food chain, ultimately ending up on our own plates. The sheer scale of the problem is difficult to comprehend. We produce hundreds of millions of tons of plastic every year, and a terrifying amount of it is designed to be used just once and then discarded. This single-use mentality has overwhelmed our waste management systems, leaving a trail of pollution that stretches from our city streets to the most remote and pristine wildernesses. We are wrapping our planet in a layer of non-degradable waste, a suffocating shroud of our own making. The health of our world, and indeed our own health, is now inextricably linked to our ability to confront this monumental challenge. It is a crisis born of convenience, and its solution will require a fundamental shift in our behavior. India, a nation of immense scale and complexity, faces a plastic pollution challenge of staggering proportions. With its vast population and rapidly growing economy, the country generates an enormous volume of plastic waste every day. The sight of plastic-strewn streets, clogged drains, and polluted rivers has become a painful reality in many parts of the country. Recognizing this urgent crisis, the Indian government has initiated one of the world's most ambitious campaigns to combat plastic pollution. It is a battle being fought on multiple fronts: national policy, industrial regulation, grassroots public awareness campaigns that seek to change the hearts and minds of over 1 billion people. A cornerstone of India's strategy has been the nationwide ban on specific single-use plastic items. Implemented in 2022, this ban targets items with low utility and high littering potential: plastic straws, cutlery, earbuds with plastic sticks, packaging films. While enforcement remains a significant challenge, the ban represents a clear and unequivocal statement of intent. It signals a move away from our reliance on disposable products and encourages a shift towards more sustainable alternatives. This legislative action is a critical foundation upon which further efforts to control plastic waste can be built, pushing both consumers and businesses to rethink their habits. Beyond outright bans, India has introduced a powerful policy tool known as Extended Producer Responsibility, or EPR. These rules place the onus for managing plastic waste squarely on the shoulders of the companies that produce it. Under the EPR framework, manufacturers, importers, brand owners are now financially and logistically responsible for collecting and recycling the plastic packaging they introduce into the market. This is a game-changing policy. It forces companies to look beyond the point of sale and consider the entire life cycle of their products, creating a powerful incentive to design packaging that is easier to recycle and to invest in the country's waste management infrastructure. Complementing these legal frameworks are widespread public awareness initiatives, such as the Swachh Bharat Mission or Clean India campaign. These movements have helped to bring the issue of sanitation and waste into the national consciousness. They encourage citizen participation in cleanup drives and promote responsible waste segregation at the household level. While the journey is far from over, these efforts are slowly cultivating a culture of environmental stewardship. India's fight against plastic is a testament to the nation's resolve. It is a monumental undertaking, but one that is absolutely essential for securing a cleaner, healthier future for its people and its magnificent natural heritage. If our current trajectory of plastic production and pollution continues unchecked in 50 to 100 years, the world will be profoundly different, deeply damaged. Imagine a future: soils saturated with microplastics. Tiny synthetic particles can alter soil structure, reduce water retention, harm essential microorganisms. Crops can absorb plastic fragments, introducing them into our food supply at the very first stage. That would diminish agricultural productivity, lead to food shortages, and pose chronic threats to human health. While plastic represents a slow, chronic poisoning of our planet, northern India faces another environmental threat that is acute, seasonal, and terrifyingly immediate: stubble burning. Each year, following the rice harvest in late autumn, vast agricultural landscapes in states like Punjab and Haryana are set ablaze. Farmers, under pressure to quickly clear their fields to plant the next crop, wheat, resort to this cheap and fast method of disposing of the leftover paddy stubble. For a few weeks, the horizon is alight with thousands of fires, releasing an immense plume of smoke and pollutants that drifts across the Indo-Gangetic Plain, creating a public health emergency of epic proportions. The most dramatic and well-documented impact of this seasonal burning is felt hundreds of kilometers away, in the sprawling metropolis of Delhi. As winter approaches and wind patterns change, the city becomes enveloped in a thick, noxious smog. The smoke from the farm fires, combined with urban pollution from vehicles, industry, and construction dust, gets trapped by cooler, heavier air, creating a toxic atmospheric cocktail. Air quality levels plummet to severe or hazardous categories, often soaring to more than 20 times the safe limit recommended by the World Health Organization. The city literally chokes, visibility drops, and the simple act of breathing becomes a dangerous activity. The health consequences for the millions of people living under this blanket of smog are devastating and immediate. Hospitals report a sharp increase in patients suffering from respiratory ailments, including asthma attacks, bronchitis, and pneumonia. The elderly and children are particularly vulnerable, but no one is immune. The fine particulate matter in the smoke, known as PM 2.5, is small enough to penetrate deep into the lungs and enter the bloodstream, causing long-term damage to the cardiovascular system and increasing the risk of heart attacks and strokes. The problem is not just confined to the air. The practice of burning stubble also degrades the very soil upon which agriculture depends. It destroys essential nutrients and beneficial microorganisms in the topsoil, reducing its fertility over time and increasing the need for chemical fertilizers. It also kills friendly insects that help control pests. Thus, what seems like a quick solution for the farmer is, in the long run, a destructive practice for the land itself. When we compare the twin threats, stubble burning, plastic pollution, we see two very different timelines of destruction. Stubble burning is an acute seasonal assault, immediate, visceral, geographically concentrated, a severe public health crisis in northern India for a few weeks each year. Plastic pollution is a chronic, silent, global pandemic. Its effects are cumulative, creeping, and will persist for centuries. The Indian Supreme Court has repeatedly intervened on stubble burning, expressing deep anguish. The court called it a failure of governance and pushed for immediate solutions: financial incentives to stop burning, ensuring availability of machinery, happy cedar planting without clearing stubble. The court emphasized the right to breathe clean air as fundamental. It urged governments to move beyond blame and implement on-the-ground support for farmers. The path forward requires a dual strategy: address the immediate fire and the slow poison. For stubble burning, provide farmers viable, affordable alternatives. Scale up subsidized machinery. Create markets by converting paddy straw into bioenergy. Convert paddy straw into packaging material. Enforce bans only as a last resort.